Hey guys, and welcome to question FM128 of the Further Maths Fortify study guide. This question reads, 4 years after observations began, 10,568 bees were found to be living in a hive. The number of bees living in the hive changes from year to year according to the recurrence relation Bn plus 1 equals 1.2 Bn minus 40. And of course, we've been told after 4 years. So that B4 there, the number of bees in the hive is 10,568. So where Bn is the number of bees observed living in the hive n years after observations began. The number of bees living in the hive 2 years after observations began was closest to what? So the trick in this question, guys, is that they've given you the number of bees in the hive 4 years after observations began, and they want to know how many bees were there 2 years after observations began. So we're used to using recurrence relations to move forward, to go from, for example, B0 to B1, and then B1 to B2, B2 to B3. So this might be a new type of question for you where we're going backwards through a recurrence relation. So the way that I would suggest to take on a question like this is going to be involving using your calculator. If you're able to do the algebra and the rearrangement by hand, well done you. But I think that in a SAC or in an exam, having your calculator solve it for you is going to be a bit of a time saver, maybe give you that little bit of an extra edge in terms of time. So this is how I would solve this question. Now, first of all, in order to go backwards through the equation, we need to be clever about how we use this recurrence relation. So I need to go from B4 to B3, which means that I'm going to have B4 equals 1.2 B3 minus 40. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my value of B4 and I'm going to solve for that using my calculator. So you guys will use the solve function on your calculator. If you don't know how to use that, I very heavily suggest looking that up because it comes in very handy. And since you have full access to your calculator in Further Maths, just a very handy tool to be able to use. So solving 10,568 equals 1.2. Now I'm going to replace B3 with X just because we need to give it a pronumeral unknown value. Now you could use Y, you could use Z, you could use a combination, you could use the letter B. Doesn't matter what you insert here as long as you tell the function afterwards. So you put a little comma, so you've created your equation, 10,568, our B4 value is equal to 1.2 unknown value, so that's to solve the value that we're solving for, minus 40. And then we're telling this function at the end, comma X, which is just telling our little function here that we want to solve for this value here. If you plug that into your calculator and hit enter, you're going to get an answer of 8,840. So that means that our B3 value is 8,840. Now to go from B3 to B2. So B3 would equal 1.2 B2 minus 40. So we follow this same process again, plugging in our value for B3. So solve 8,840 equals 1.2x, just any unknown number, minus 40, solve for x. And that's going to drop you out with an answer for B2 of 7,400, which of course is option C. If you guys have any questions about how I did that, drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.